Today I'm going to show you how you can build a CI/CD pipeline using GitHub and Jenkins for an application on the Now platform. So we're going to start by creating an application on my dev instance here. We'll say an app for Jenkins is the name. We're going to make it a global app. Going to skip the rows and tables. And just to keep it exciting, we'll add a script include, a global script include for our new global app here to have something in it. So great, there's a script. Next up, let's link it to source control. We're going to create a new repo in GitHub here. And we'll just call it the same thing, keep it consistent. Now that I have my repo set up here, we can come back to link it in my studio for my dev instance. Since this is my first time, I'm just going to go with the master branch, and I've previously set up a credential in my dev instance for my GitHub account using a personal access token already. While that's linking, let's take a look at some of the things that we've released recently to help you get started with Jenkins faster. Firstly is a ServiceNow CICD plugin on the Jenkins plugin index. This wraps the CICD APIs that we released in Orlando and helps you to be able to automate a lot of your test validation steps, publishing, installing apps from the app repo, managing plugins. So yeah, you don't have to directly work with the APIs. You can just include the build steps as a part of the plugin that we've released here. Secondly, we've provided example pipeline templates that you can just copy and paste into your application's GitHub repos. And we can run directly from these pipeline examples. So coming back here, we should have linked successfully now, and we'll see that the application is indeed part of my GitHub repo now. And we're actually going to go ahead and add a new Jenkins file. So copy paste that pipeline. So I'm going to take my pipeline sample here and just paste it in. And now there's a couple of things to note about the pipeline. Firstly, it depends on environment variables to be able to pass into the build steps. So you'll see here, for example, we have the different environments set up here, different SysIDs representing the app or the test suite for ATF in my test instance. So we're going to make sure that those are updated. So we're passing in the correct values into the build steps. Firstly, for the app SysID, we're going to come grab that from Studio here. Branch name we're going to want to leave as is, so we can pass it in. The credentials I've previously set up in Jenkins. So for example, if you come to Jenkins, we can manage credentials. And you'll see here that I've got two IDs defined. One is a credential for GitHub that we're going to use in a moment. That's also based on our personal access token. Secondly is this ServiceNow credential. So I've got the same pair of credentials set up for a service account on all of my instances. So we're just going to copy paste that in here, mind the spaces. I have 3 instances here, so it's a dev instance, a test instance, and then a prod instance. And I'm going to leave the test suite ID as is because it's already the correct one on my test instance. Just to briefly explain how the pipeline works, we have 3 stages. Firstly is a build stage where we apply remote changes from the relevant branch back down to the dev instance and then publish an application version from that branch. Secondly is a test stage where we install the application that we just published to the app repo from the dev instance into the test instance. And then on the test instance, we run the ATF test suite that I've already got set up. And once that CI build is complete, a pull request is completed as well, and we can merge that branch into master, that feature branch. And then lastly, if the master branch has a merge come in, then it kicks off the CD part of the pipeline, which is deploying the application to prod. So install the application to prod. So I've made all the changes I want to make to the pipeline here, and we're just going to commit it to the master branch for now. So great, my repo is set up correctly now. We can hop over here to Jenkins, where we can add a new item. To name our item, let's just continue being consistent here and borrow from the repo here. And we're going to make a multi-branch pipeline. This allows the Jenkins file that we just defined to function as the pipeline. As a part of your configuration for your multi-branch pipeline in Jenkins, you're going to want to set up your credentials I just pointed out earlier, so personal access tokens. We'll see that that is working. And we're going to add the link for the Git repo here. And validate that just in case. Yep, that works. So for discover branches, you're going to want to use all branches, and then you can leave the discover pull requests from origin and forks as is. Everything else works as is. Your knowledge state build configuration, we're picking up the Jenkins file that we just defined as a part of our application at the root. And we're just going to save here actually. So great, we see the scan repository log, and it's able to find a master branch from our repo. We can take a look at that here. So great, looks like the master branch is here. We're going to stop that job because there's nothing to deploy right now. All right, let's come back to our repo here. For this scenario, let's imagine that we're picking up a story from a backlog, and we need to create a new feature off the master branch. So firstly, let's apply remote changes from our master branch, you see down here. Just to make sure our master branch here on instance has the latest and greatest from the repo. Great. So the first thing we're going to do here is create a branch off the master branch, and we're going to call that feature branch some number. And once that branch has been created, it's actually going to trigger a build if it gets picked up in Jenkins. While we're waiting for that, we can go ahead and do some feature work on our new feature branch 33. For example, I might make a change to the script include that we just created earlier. So we'll say some feature was made. And we can increment our version as well here. So, hey, maybe 107. All right, so we've made a few changes on our feature branch here. And once source control loads in again, we'll see we made an update to the version number. We can now commit these changes. You can see two things were changed. One was in the sysapp record or version, and secondly was in the script include. We added that additional comment. We're going to commit both. Great. And now we head back to the repo here. We'll see here that a new branch was created, and we can start a pull request to merge this feature branch into the master branch. So as a part of our Jenkins setup here, sometimes you have to scan the repository to pick up these new branches and pull requests in order to kick off builds. Let's try reloading that. There we go. Feature branch 33 is now in. And we'll see we have two branches and one pull request, which reflects our repo here. Don't mind the first one failing. The second one is the one that we're going to take a look at here. So as a part of triggering a pull request, we're going to do build and deploy into test, run your ATF test suites, and if it's passing, then we should merge into master. So if we hop into do pipeline here, once I'm on the right tab, we can see here that there's a couple of stages that I brought up earlier. Firstly, we have a build stage, which has passed already, but it applied remote changes from the Git repo back down to the instance and then published a version of the application, 108. We increment as a part of the build steps. Then the test stage has passed as well. So test was able to successfully install the application and then run my ATF test suite. We even have links to my test instances ATF test suite in case you want to see the results. So that passed. We should see that in the pull request as well. Again, don't mind the first one, but we passed the second one. That one is the one that matters here. So we're actually going to merge the pull request because the build passed. And we don't need to branch anymore. So great, now that the master branch has been updated, we should have kicked off the CD part of the build. So let's take a look back here on the master branch. That is the run that we canceled earlier. So we might have to do another scan to get things updated. All right, let's see again. All right, there we go. It started. So we see here as part of the CD part of the build, once we've merged changes into the master branch, we're going straight to deploying the application version to production because that version of the application passed before. And that was successful as well. We were able to successfully install. And the way that we can validate this is to take a look at my production instance. So here I am coming up to my company applications in my production instance. And if we check the install tab, we'll see app for Jenkins version 108 has been successfully installed. So in this example, we started from a freshly created global app, included just a global script in it, linked it up to source control, set up a CI/CD pipeline that's built on top of our plugin using the sample pipeline template that you can just copy paste in as the Jenkins file for your application and just keep it with the Git repo for your application. And from our Jenkins instance, we were able to run both a CI build on pull request as well as a CD on merge into master. And that concludes our example for CI/CD pipeline built using GitHub and Jenkins. Thank you.